Welcome to this program. Very good evening, morning, afternoon, and good evening to all. So you guys might have gone through, the course curriculum and this one. But for your information, what we'll do in just 5 to 10 minutes, we'll quickly go through the what tentative topics we are going to cover in 3 courses. So we have divided it into 3 courses. I think you may be knowing. So this just a minute. I'll just share my sorry. Can you see my screen?
We can see, if you can just make it a little larger.
Yeah, is it fine now?
Yeah. This is better.
Yeah, so guys, we have divided this course into 3 parts. Like course 1, where we are going to cover the fundamentals, what exactly the technologies is, especially right from information system to databases to business analytics, security and this one. So whatever typical like inputs required for digital transformation at a technical level, we are going to cover into this first course. So it will be total 27 hours, and if you see, like, the main objective is introduce participant to IT world from the technology perspective, and what is the role in digital transformation. So whenever we talk, we'll talk more perspective from digital transformation, to understand the technology jargons with the basic ingredients of digital transformation. And at the end of the model, you should be able to know how and where technology is going to play a role. Although the focus of this course is not to go into much of the technology detail, because you can always look into that later on, but definitely to understand more from the applied context, more from the managerial context, what are the pros and cons of that technology, where the technology fits, how you can connect other technologies to that particular piece of technology, and so on. And you can explore the further topic, in-depth understanding and this one. And coverage will be like basics of computing infrastructure, data and data management technology. So we'll start right from what is called as a data, then what file processing system, what is a relational database management system, what is big data, data warehouse, and so on. So that will be covered in this. And what are the different types of software, how the softwares are developed, what is the different approaches are used for software development, and so on. And pedagogy will be mostly, in first course, it will be using PPTs and short videos which are relevant one in the current context, so to have a quick understanding and so on. So this is a plan of like what we are going to do. So we are planning to have a 2 kind of assessment. One is quiz, as regular, and second is group assignment. So probably you can form the group of 8 to 10 people, choose a vertical, and you can explore more in that vertical. Whenever we actually cover the chapter or any topic, you can see how that topic is relevant to your selected vertical or domain, whatever you choose from. Right? So I think all of the course timings will be 2 o'clock to 7 o'clock Indian standard time. This one. Okay, so this is a broad coverage, like introduction to ISIT, computing infrastructure, data management, understanding the software world, Internet of Things, enterprise systems. Okay, and then business intelligence and AI. So here we'll try to cover as much as part of BI, AI also as a this one. Then what are the security challenges, especially again, see, just a 3 hours. We are not going to go in much details, but typically why it is required, what are the tools and techniques are there, how you can like maintain the privacy, and okay, all this will be part of this one. Then technology stack, basically you should be able to connect the things, or like what are the different pieces you can put on a stack, and how you can create a complete it's like a before you start a platform, you should have all technologies in place, and that will be also. And then IT investments, we'll be talking about whether it should be goal for capex or opex model. You must be knowing, like, a lot of people are moving from capex to opex because of cloud computing, and a lot of services are available online, so you can just subscribe, then pay per use or so on. Then second course will be more focusing on digital platform, why it is required to have your own digital platform, what is the need for it, Okay, and ACID technology, focusing on artificial intelligence, cloud, Internet of Things, and data, because these are going to be technologies which will be everywhere, and they are just backbone of the organization which are thinking to go for digital transformation and so on. So here, like to understand a digital platform, what makes the digital platform, how organization leverage the platform, why firm should be building the platform, and what are the role of AI, cloud, IoT, and data plays in. So when I say data, it means big data including. It's not only just data, but it's a more broader rather than just saying data or something. And we'll be covering some case studies, especially how people are leveraging platforms and ACID technology in their respective organization. Okay, so this course will be around 21 hours, this span. Okay, these are the topics, that will be part of this, like what is a digital platform, technologies behind the scene, why to build digital platforms, what are the business models, what are the popular platforms, like you must be knowing Uber, Airbnb, Alibaba, Facebook. These are all platforms, and it's complete ecosystem as such. This one. Then case studies on digital platforms. Then we talk about all these four technologies like automation and AI, cloud computing and IoT, leveraging data, and adopting ACID. Okay, in the respective organization. And this course will be jointly taken by Mr. Suri and myself as a part of. Okay, and third course, we're just focusing on more on a strategy and leadership. Once you learn the fundamentals of technology platform, what is an AI, what is cloud computing, what is IoT, then you can actually see how you can play the leadership role, where and how the technology can be used, how you can frame the roadmap down the line, maybe 5 to 10 years. 10 years will be much higher, but 3 to 5 years down the line, so that will be focus of this one. So like the topics will be digital mastery and building digital capabilities. So basically, we are going to cover some case studies where they talk about how some organization have mastered, in a digital transformation, what something unique they have done, how they have used the technology, how they leaded the, lead the digital transformation and so on. So building digital capabilities, creating compelling customer experience, harnessing customer networks. Basically, the three broader, one is customer centric, one is core operation, like predictive maintenance, that comes under core operation, and using technology reinvent the complete different business model. So you can move from more physical presence to digital presence. You can give that similar experience to customers wherever they're sitting and so on. Then drafting, crafting digital vision, strategy, and roadmap, innovate by rapid experimentation, because your time to market has to be faster. So you have to have some kind of lab kind of environment where you can actually test the technology and so on. And governing the organization. And the last, like framing the digital challenge, focusing investment, mobilizing organization, and so on. So this is how we are depending on the requirement. As I we have put here, the contents of course 3 might slightly change and so on. Okay, so this is what the broader outline we have for these 3 courses. And Surajji, if you want to add something, you are welcome to add.
No, absolutely. And Professor Sona, thank you for the overview. For the participants, just to add, I actually partner with Professor Sona as a guest faculty at IIT Bombay. Otherwise, I'm in the industry, and the whole idea of this course is, not limited to theory, but make sure there are adequate case studies, which comes in and which is probably more relevant, not just for the technology folks, but also for, any other industry, any other discipline. So, whether you're in finance or marketing or in HR and across different industries, we will try to see, as much of relevant case studies that we can bring in. That's number one. And number two, as you heard Professor Sona talking about a lot of technologies like, AI, ML, cloud, data. Now, while these technologies are there and, would be there and they're ever changing, the focus here is, of course, you get a initial view in terms of, what those technologies are, but under no circumstances, we are trying to tell that, okay, you'll master AI or you'll master a cloud or master data services out here. The thought in this course is more about the application of those. So how can you really have an applied AI platform which will probably drive something? And the core philosophy of digital that we have seen in the industries, it's a broad umbrella term which actually involves changes in people, process, and technology, all three levers. It's not just a technology change. It's not just a enabling people to be digital ready, and of course, process, because digital model can be a change in the current model, the way you are doing business, or it can be altogether new model which didn't exist, before, and now possible because we have all these technologies. So net, we'll start with lot more theory, and towards the end, as Professor Sonar suggested, that particularly the course 3, we'll try to cover as much of applied examples and industry examples, just to make sure you can contextualize and take that as a learning. So I'll pause there, but that kind of summarizes the overall course that we are planning to have.
Thank you, Suraj. So yeah, now floor is open. You guys have any questions? I think it's already.
Yeah, and would request the attendees to type their question in a Q&A box and not in the chat box, so that we don't miss out on anything and we can look at that. So please go ahead and type your questions now.
So I just checked one question. I think Suraj, you can say, this is Rakesh. I work in public sector, publishing sector. Okay, please tell us how this code will be good for non-IT audience. See, Rakesh ji, you take any organization nowadays, any organization, everybody is looking for a digital transformation. In fact, the publishing sector is where they are trying to move from more physical presence to more digital. So, for example, you can almost get every book online nowadays. You need not have a physical copy. And there are a lot of. I hope when you say publishing sector, you mean the book kind of this one. That's what I assume. Or it's a newspaper, but for that matter, publishing means it's content. And content can always be digitized, and they can be made available. And I feel this can be useful because AI, cloud, all this technology is relevant to almost all domains and sector. There's no sector where it's not relevant, because wherever there is an expertise or there is some decision making involved, and some IT infrastructure is involved, the cloud and AI, all these technologies come into picture. It may not be that relevant. So, for example, IoT may not be that relevant, but surely cloud, your AI can be very relevant, and data also can be very relevant to your publishing sector. That's what I feel.
And I'm tempted to add, given the question in terms of publishing industry, and just to share another example from not publishing but a similar domain. One of the flagship companies in digital model is Netflix, right? And I was just looking at another ad the other day where Netflix is saying, just don't forget that we started by renting DVDs, right? Mm-hmm. So the company that was renting out DVDs to people, that's Netflix's history, right? So from there to what Netflix is today, and just to tell you, Netflix probably controls more than 40% of the worldwide internet data, right? Which is huge by any means. So it's a huge transformation. So I think we'll have those kind of examples in terms of how an altogether new business model came in, and that would be relevant for, well, we'll try to cover as much industry, but as Professor Sonar said, there would be usage that you can decide to apply in the industry that you are in.
Yeah, and in fact, Suryaji, the pace of change will be very unprecedented. It is not like it's going to take 5 years, 10 years. The people have to change; they have to adopt. Otherwise, they're likely to be thrown out, or they're like to be, because the technology is changing at very fast. If you're not adapting to what is latest technology, so I think it's equally applicable in every industry, for that matter. So somebody has asked, ethics is emerging an important dimension in deployment of digital. See, we don't have too much, but we'll be having some topic on that, because ethics is something not very specific to technology as such, but definitely, like when you are, like for example, when it comes to piracy, privacy, and other aspect, or right use of technology, we'll be passing, but it's not a full-fledged kind of topic as such, but during our talk, we'll be talking, some aspects of it. Yes, Rakesh, there's a book, Leading Digital, which has a very specific case study on publishing industry. No, I don't remember the exact name of the case study, but they do talk about this one, how they completely went from yellow pages to, in fact, that case study dates back a little bit. So it talks about the organization which were actually specializing in yellow pages, how they digitally transform themselves. Because once you have an yellow pages, the advantage is you're connected to a lot of people. Just an example, if you look at the this justdial.com in India, what it does, it just searches yellow pages for you, so you don't need a physical yellow pages, and they leverage a lot of connectivity they have, and they went completely digital, this one. And in fact, there was an opportunity they mentioned. So whatever people they are connect, see, for example, if you take a Just Dial, they have an opportunity to connect all the players they have on board, as well as give them value added services. For example, they can extend some application which can be used by all people who are using Just Dial.
Right.
Yeah, in fact, that's also, Suriji, that's also interesting example, because they started with just a phone service, and now they're
Right.
almost offering a lot of applications.
Absolutely. I don't think anybody calls Just Dial anymore. They have that 888 number, but I don't think anybody calls. You just
Calls,
find out.
Okay, so they also quickly see, nowadays organizations have to move quickly.
Okay. And there are other questions, Professor Sonal. I don't know if somebody is moderating from Coursera side, but there are quite a few questions in
Okay, sorry. I'm not able to see. So what is the ratio of hours on demand, recorded class and live session? See, whatever 60 hours that we are talking about, they are all will be live sessions, 60 hours live session. And recorded class number of, I still didn't get, because this is a course which has all live cases. Sorry, live session, sorry. So from Coursera, somebody can answer this question, Suriji, I think there's some.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, but I can answer this. So this course is set up in a synchronous mode, which is live online. So all the sessions will be live. So you will not have any recorded session videos. So I hope that clarifies you the question. And Professor Sonal, what will be the timing for the live sessions? I think it is Saturday 7.
Saturday from 2 o'clock to 7:30.
Yeah.
India time.
So I think, IST.
Yeah.
I think I have.
It is an India time.
Yeah, but not for all courses. First course, it will be that timing. So let me go to this one. So already mentioned, it is 7 o'clock. Sorry. So it starts at, the first slot is 14. It starts at 2 o'clock. It gets over at 3:30. There's a 15 minutes break. Then another class starts 4:45, and it gets over 5:30, and 5:15, and 5:30 to 9 o'clock. That's what this one. Okay, things. Let's quickly take this one. Technical prerequisites are required. Actually, we are not expecting you to have a technology background, but you should be able to substantiate, or you should be able to read as much as as I told you, as a manager, you don't really have to have in-depth technology background. So if you take, for example, any piece of say Alexa as an example, so you need not go into how Alexa works, what is the technology behind that, how it connects to Wi-Fi and so on. You should just understand the business applications of Alexa. Can I just create an application, voice-based application, and put it on Alexa? So how means it should be more on an application side, it should be more on a business context, it should be leveraging that technology. And other aspects, it can be how you can connect with other technology. That should be more focused rather than going deep into technology. So it's on the Saturdays, means it's a 4.5 hours of contact live sessions on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think there are some questions that came in terms of the timing. Now I see there are some folks who are in the US time zone, like a East Coast or a Pacific time zone. Now I don't know how to solve this, because this time should hopefully work for, given it's a Saturday, should work for folks in, say, Asia Pacific region, and also for large part of Europe as well. But anything beyond that, I mean, there's no single window that probably we can plan for. So Kiran, maybe this is for you to think for next ones, but this course could be on Saturday on the timings that Professor Sonal mentioned.
Yes, it's actually interesting and heartening to note that we have lots of overseas interest in this course.
Right.
Usually for some of the courses, predominantly we have Indian participants, but yeah, we will figure that out for the future rollouts. But asynchronous courses become a lot easier, and you don't have the time zone issue. But this is the first time this course is being offered in a live online mode. So yeah, it will have that limitation.
So somebody has asked, sir, tell more deep about what is cloud computing and Amazon Web Services. How to see this will be part of our live session and this one. This is just to understand, not to go into any specific topic as such, but general overview of this one. I don't know. Explain us about Arrow research in MIT. I'm sorry, this question is not relevant in the current, whatever webinar we have.
And there are some questions in terms of the course details and all that. I think, again, I don't know if anybody from Coursera is on, but there is a link that they can find out more. So whatever we are presenting now is actually available in a page, and that
it's available. Yeah.
And, yeah. And also, I see some question around fees and other things. So I would request that if they go through the page on Coursera, a link on the Coursera page, they will get lots of details about the course. I mean, this session is mainly meant for what it covers, how it will be covered, and the benefits for people investing their time and money.
So is AI designating analytical intelligence or artificial intelligence in true sense? Yeah, it's actually making a difference. It's like, anyway, that's a topic to be discussed, this one. But since the industry is using in a great way, and there are a lot of use cases where the AI has been successfully deployed, and we see applications around, like, for example, image search or face recognition, recommendation and personalization. Like Netflix is also an example of the technology working behind the scene, which understands every user likes and this one, and provides very relevant results and so on. How to be vigilant and right to privacy? This will be, I think this is more technical question, like there still options are there, regarding some. Yes, digital twin will be covering as a part of IoT. That comes as a part of asset technology, because it's a industry 4.0. So we'll be talking about digital twins, especially very relevant to manufacturing sector.
Yeah, I think there's one more question in terms of the practical assignments. So. Professor, you want to take that in terms of the evaluation that you shared?
Yeah. In fact, this question already, I think I answered it. But what we have done, like at the beginning, we are requesting you to choose a topic. For example, there can be a group of 8 to 10 people. You choose a vertical. Suppose you want to go explore more in manufacturing, you want to explore more in banking or telecom or any sector, agriculture, or even government sector. And then what I suggest, like after every lecture we finish or every topic we finish, just go back, sit together and try to find out how that particular topic that was taught is relevant in your vertical context. What are the technology exist? So for example, suppose I teach you database management system, or I teach you DBMS. Now you can, or data models, you can think of what is the data model relevant to your organization. Suppose you're calling it as an X organization. Now what kind of data objects will be there, how they will be connected, what will be my business policies. So very simple. Suppose if it's a banking organization, you are allowing one customer having multiple accounts. So it's like you can say there will be two objects, customer object and you have account object, and there can be a one to many kind of relationship, or you say one account can be jointly held by multiple customers. So it's like a many to many relationships. So that means you should be able to understand what exactly the data modeling is, what are the data objects, why they are required. You can go into each of the data objects. For example, what information about the customer I will need, how I'm going to use it, what kind of data type it will have. So we are going to go into detail, and then you can relate to your, and advantages at the end. When you guys are making the presentation, everybody appreciates what others have done and they can understand. So what I suggest, like if you have say 9 to 10 groups, everybody picks up the different vertical. So at the end of the courses, we will have a presentation of say 45 minutes or so that you present the entire thing, what you have done, in that vertical. So if I'm working on a manufacturing, I can appreciate somebody has worked on a banking sector, and you can see there is a lot of learning kind of things will come into picture. I hope it answers your question.
Yeah, and maybe if I can just add to that in terms of the structure, see, you would, once you have all the participants, you'll get to know that, say somebody is there from a retail CPG company and focused on supply chain. You may have another guy, who may be from say pharma, but still focused on supply chain. So, when we give the topics for the projects, which is a group work, right? It need not be that you'll be forced into some group. You have the option to figure out, who are the, I won't say like-minded, but, similar industry or similar domain. And then you have the liberty to form your own groups and, solve a particular industry or a particular domain problem. And that's probably the best way to learn, because there's nothing more like there's no programming or individual assignment to do that. It's all through that only.
See, I have one. Please advise how will be groups will be constituted in group work. So typically, we have to see how these logistics can be managed. For example, in IIT Bombay, the students are self-driven. So typically, we have a class representative, and class representative actually takes care of all these issues. He actually, asks the class what kind of groups you would like to form and so on. So you can use some kind of sharing mechanism or Slack or something like that, to connect and then decide, okay, this is a vertical. So good idea maybe, suppose say we send you some list of say 8-10 verticals or domains, and then there can be like, you can say, okay, people, there are 7-8 people who want to work in this domain. That can be best idea kind of policeman, because in classroom session we can manage that, but here you have to somebody has to take the championship and do that. We are traveling and engaged as well. Access to recording, I think it should be available. Kiranji, that should be available, right?
Yeah, it's available for a certain duration or till the course gets over. But it is a view-only access. It is not a downloaded access.
See, coding background is not required actually. That's what I said. But you should know what is meant by code. It should know how a code looks like. So for example, how a C code look like versus how a Python code look like. If somebody is coding in C language, what are the efforts vis-a-vis somebody is coding in Python language? So you should be able to appreciate, especially what are the different types of languages, right from low level language like C code to till the 4th generation languages, and languages like Python. You should be knowing what is JavaScript, what is a scripting language, but how it works. But you should know what is the purpose of JavaScript, why scripting is important. It helps in doing a lot of client-side validation. So when you are using say client-server kind of technology, a lot of validations can be done at a client side. So you reduce the load on the server. So that's the role of JavaScript. But how the JavaScript code looks like, that's not within the scope of this course. Educational field, teachers, this will be, suppose you want to offer such kind of courses or you want to give more knowledge to your students, it's going to be definitely helpful. And if you are playing an admin role, possibly you can see how you can transform your respective college or respective university or whatever you are in. If you happen to be in head of the department or administrative position, you can possibly leverage how you can digitally transform using these programs, not only in teaching but actually in practice also. So Dipanshu, why would an organization need a digital business platform? So Suriji would like to take this.
Yes, I can take this, So, okay, I mean, as I said, digital transformation is a very broad umbrella, It can be changing the way you do the business today or creating a completely new model, right? So, and if you don't do it, so if you choose not to do a digital transformation and try to run the business in the old way, it's a no-brainer that you lose the customer, right? I mean, you need to stay ahead of the competition. If there is a competition who's offering the same service in either a better mode or a very different mode, right? You just lose out completely and you'll see your business coming down. I think that's the key reason, and it's a very high level answer, but I can give a couple of examples while they are mostly specific. If I take some names, I'll avoid the names, but if at all, say take insurance industry, right? Insurance industry classically world over used to be sold more of through a broker, right? So you had insurance companies who had a agent or a broker who would come and finally sell the policies. While I'm contextualizing for India, but it's valid globally. Anywhere in the world, 15 years or 10 years ago, people would buy in that mode, right? Now the whole distribution channel has changed, and almost everywhere in the world, you can go and buy an insurance policy, be it a life cover or a health insurance or a motor car insurance. You can buy it online, right? Now, if you're an insurance company, right, and if you decide that no, I don't want to change digital transformation, I don't want to change the way I business, I would still want to I want to do it in traditional way and use the brokers to go and sell. You tell me, whoever is asking the question, that would you survive the competition, right? The answer is no. So I think the broad reason for digital transformation is to make sure that you are not only changing your model, adopting new models, staying ahead of competition, and ultimately, make sure. And this is a business course, so how you really use those to keep your own business, and you may be a working professional, so it's your company you're working for, how to ideate and how to get things done. That's the core theme. And of course, we would not cover a strategy for each industry or each vertical. That's up to you guys, and probably that's a assignments, but we'll actually help you with the ideas or the tools that can help you achieve that. So all the examples that Professor Sonar gave earlier, the new digital models, the asset technologies, those are really the tools that can, those are not the end by itself, but more of a means to an end, right? And if and when you enroll for the course, you must keep that in mind, that look, you'll get to know a broad set, but what you actually get to use for your own company, or for if you're a working professional for the area you're working in, is up to you to really figure out.
Yeah. I think Pradeep Kumar, your question is how it's relevant to this forum. I don't know, I don't know why you people are asking such questions.
I think we can leave that aside.
So recently, my company moved from a primitive portal of a case resolution to Salesforce. Will this TBIS change come under the digital transformation umbrella? Yeah, it's easy for that matter. If you are moving from a, say, a very simple example, suppose you have a presence on premises setup, you have everything, and you are moving on a cloud. You are using either, say, for example, Amazon, or you are using Google Cloud, or you are using, say, Azure of this one. So it's also a part of digital, because you are making everything. You are using ASIC technology there, one of the technology. So I think to a certain extent it can fall under what you call as a digital transformation. It need not be the fully digital transformation, but you are just moving from one kind of technology to more on a platform based kind of. I hope that answers. Can you help technologies will help your audiobooks, and so we'll cover this as a part of this one. Let us take some relevant. Will there be any practical this already?
Professor Sonar, have you addressed this question on will there be any practical assignments to grasp the theoretical aspects?
Kiranji, that I have already asked, because we are not going to do hands-on as such. But what I'm saying is, let's take when I'm covering, say, database management system. So I will be asking them to do some database creation, write some queries, so that they can appreciate. Because I again advise them, have some person who can have a little bit of technology, or knack for technology picking up, like understanding, so that they can do a little bit of hands-on at their end. But it is not a part of a live session or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
While we are waiting for the next question, it may be useful for the participants to know from you as to what level of intensity, or what level of preparation, or self-study will be required, so that they can budget their time during the tenure of the course.
think let's take this. Yeshnath, product and data roles are now interchanged. New business models are getting leveraged to embrace disruptive technology, business process changes, and people trying to solve the business problem and delight the customer. Yes, this is very much part of your digital, sorry, digital transformation. In fact, uses the disruptive technology to leverage advantage of that. What we're talking about, like AI, IoTs, these are technologies which are changing the way we're doing the things, like IoT plays with IoT, AI and cloud is a combination. It's I call it a deadly combination because it's going to solve a lot of problems, it's going to optimize a lot, and it's going to save a lot of money also. I think there were digital transformation also can help. Yes, the topic being discussed, cloud versus hybrid. Will you be touching? Yes, this will be very much part of our, from the strategy perspective also, because Surit ji is already, helping the companies on this. So surely whether you should go for a cloud, public cloud or hybrid cloud or whatever, So that should be very much part of our course teaching.
Yes, we'll cover, what are the strategies for adopting, a hybrid cloud or multi-cloud environment. What are the key consideration? What are the risks that you need to keep in mind? Things like that, right?
Okay. So Surijit, there is a question, what kind of frameworks we will discuss in the course? For example, any framework for cloud AI adoption in industry and framework to decide which use case for a digital transformation.
So as I told earlier, most of the frameworks, and I saw another question on Salesforce also. See, we will try to keep this product agnostic because, if you go for AWS, they have their framework for that. If you go for Microsoft Azure, there's a framework for that too. If you are going on Salesforce, again, there's a framework for that. Now, we are not, while we are talking about principles of using each of these options, but we are completely agnostic to what kind of product you're using, and this is definitely not a certification course on AWS or Salesforce or Microsoft. So let's be clear on that you would understand that how to use those technologies to again solve a business problem, and then ultimately if you want to go ahead and do it on AWS or on Salesforce, that would have its own framework and methodology which you need to follow.
And in fact, you need to look at your skill sets also. You have to, that basically cloud is cloud, whether you are using Amazon, whether you are using Google, it has certain advantage. But when you go to specifics of each platform, you have to look into more details. It may be a pricing differentiation, maybe feature differentiation, but your strategy is to move on a cloud. Now, which cloud to move on, that's your internal, alignment or internal, depending on various factors, which cloud you should be adopting and so on. Okay.
And also, let me share, I was talking in another industry forum. See, there was one person who actually had the luxury of, it's a new business, right? So if someone is starting a business today, you can of course be cloud first and do everything on cloud. And that challenge is very different from maybe another professional here who's working for a large manufacturing company who already have systems which are running for last 10 years, right? Now, obviously you cannot throw out everything and say, okay, I'll replace everything and put in new cloud. That won't happen because, that will be extremely costly. That will, disrupt a lot more things. Maybe you wouldn't have got the payback on the old one. So there are some sections like, the return on investment and considerations like that. So I'm just giving two ends, the way, the advantage, if I may say, for somebody who's starting today versus somebody who's already operating with an existing ecosystem and what to change would be very different.
There's one question, Suraj, will you use the use cases for blockchain and cryptocurrency? I think I'm not sure about the cryptocurrency, blockchain, I think.
Yes. So we'll cover blockchain, and in terms of concepts, we'll also cover about the use cases for blockchain in different industries that we plan to cover, again, mostly from publicly available information. So there would be industry examples.
Some questions related to payment and Coursera Plus. I think this is part of Coursera's,
yeah, I think the website or the Coursera advisory team can handle that, who are not who are not in the panelist section today. But course fee and other things are all available on the website.
I think Kshitij has written it. We'll just close in another part.
Yeah.
Yeah, this I understand, Ajay, like because I work in artificial intelligence. I have been working on almost last 20-25 years. I do understand like what is false positive and false negative, but the technology will improve. Even if it solves 80% of your problem, it's still, 20% you solve as an expert. So if you're automating something, so you cannot automate the whole world because there is no substitute to human intelligence. But at least 70-80% you can try to automate. Even if your accuracy is up to that level, it can solve many of our problem, and it can relieve us from that mundane kind of work, this one. Okay, so yeah, we will be, see, I will be talking on when I talk about AI and analytics and this one, I will be covering this, especially when it comes to classification kind of problem. So I will definitely address this. I hope we have not missed any important. Yeah.
No, I think we are good in terms
Good.
of the,
Yeah.
in terms of the Q&A. I just scrolled through. We have covered most of it.
Most of us. Yeah. Okay, and textbook, I think some core textbook will be used. Yeah, we'll be giving you some reference book. Although we'll be covering more broader aspect rather than very specific to book, but that can be your pointer to, or that can be a reference, like which topic we are covering. So we are going to do that. Yeah, I think there is a link already pasted in chat. You can refer to for any information related to payment and Coursera thing. People, please. How much of time commitment are required? See, we expect at least your in first course is 4.5 hours. So at least we expect you to spend at least 5 hours a week, kind of this one, in order to understand it thoroughly. And more time you spend is always better for you. But at least take out some 5 hours apart from your live sessions, and that will be always better.
Yes, and I think if I can add to that, during the initial part, you may not, I mean, it will be primarily the classrooms and then nothing beyond. Towards the end, when you have a more open format, then you may need to, work offline for the assignments or the projects that you be given.
Okay. So Kiranji, should we close?
I think so.
You want to have some remark?
Yeah. So thank you, everybody. Thank you, Professor Sonath, Mr. Suhit, and all the participants. We hope to have addressed your major questions and queries that you may have on this course. This is the first time at this platform and of this scale, the course is being offered. And, look forward to having you in the class. And if you have any follow-up questions, either Coursera team or their help center or us, one of us will respond to them to get you satisfied before you sign up. So Kshitij, if sorry, Professor Sonath, you were saying.
Nice. People are still, I'm just looking at some questions. So absolutely no need of Python at all, and okay, so that I already told. You don't need to be having a programming background, but you should be knowing what Python is all about, what you can do with it, why the people are behind the Python, what kind of problems they solve, and so on, so that you can ask some of your technology guys to look into more details. Okay. So thank you very much. Thanks a lot. Have a nice day.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah. Okay. Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye.